The story begins on a beautiful planet, where pearls are plentiful. The pearl people use their pearls to preserve the planet. Where do they get so many pearls? The answer lies in a creature called a converter. As long as a pearl is placed inside a converter, it can copy endless pearls, so this kind of creature is very valuable. Until one day, an unknown meteor suddenly appeared in the sky. The princess looked up and saw that something was wrong. It seems that something is happening in space. The scene changes and there is indeed a war in space. A giant warship was hit by a missile and lost control, falling with a powerful shock wave and destroying everything. At the last moment, the Pearl Nation was hiding inside the spaceship, because the power of the door is too strong, so if it is closed, it will be difficult to reopen. And unfortunately, the princess is trapped outside the door and cannot enter in her last moments of life. The princess released her energy and attached her soul to the body of the male protagonist. Meanwhile, Valerian, who woke up, also felt the wave. Valerian is a spy and Laureline is his partner. While the two were having fun, a mission order was sent from their superiors to go to a planet called Curian. When the spaceship landed, they arrived in a desert. Together with their colleagues, they boarded a bus to reach their destination. This was the largest market in the universe, where with a certain device, one could see the market. They first pass the guards, and then Laureline sneaks in through the back door. Valerian, on the other hand, secretly infiltrates as a tourist. He goes and finds a passageway inside, meets another agent, brings dimensional glasses, weapons, and a dimension-penetrating device, and he too disappears. The scene switches to the black market boss. At this time, two immigrants who turned out to be pearls were negotiating with the black market boss. It turned out that the boss had a converter belonging to the Pearl Nation, and the Pearl Nation issued pearls as a transaction tool. During the buying and selling process, Valerian suddenly appeared using a dimension-penetrating device and threatened the boss to hand over the converter, or he would shoot him in the head. Shortly after, Laureline also arrived and took the converter. Once successful, Laureline left first, and Valerian stayed behind to wait. During this time, Valerian retrieved the pearl, and the boss vowed to catch Valerian and kill him. Just at this moment, a conflict suddenly occurred, and Laureline quickly called people to respond to the message. They armed themselves and quickly rushed to the battlefield to help Valerian and Laureline. The angry boss immediately ordered the killer monster, and the two people ran towards the door. The agents launched a crazy shot against the enemy. Then they got ready to escape. The killer monster quickly caught up. They ran into the bus, but it turned out that the killer monster was still chasing. They quickly shot with machine guns, but the bullets could not kill the monster. The crazy pig monster jumped onto the bus, and everyone quickly protected themselves. The attacker climbed on top of the bus and destroyed the bus. The crazy monster was too strong and bulletproof, so Valerian and Laureline were forced to leave the other agents and jump into the spaceship. Although the monster refused to surrender, but with the high-speed operation of the spaceship, the monster was thrown from the spaceship. After completing the mission, Valerian began to study the pearl and discovered that it contained 50 megatons of energy, which was many times more than the energy inside the spaceship. He also learned that the pearl came from planet Mull, a planet that was destroyed many years ago. He wanted to understand more, but soon they arrived at the Alpha Station, a space station with a population of over 30 million, with thousands of species from different planets. Civilizations from various planets gathered here. Shortly thereafter, they arrived at the command center. They were taken to see General Octo, who told them that an unknown area appeared in the central space station, and before it continued to expand, a special team was also sent there, but strangely no one returned. At this time, the commander appeared. He told everyone that they must eliminate this area immediately, and he also asked the two to protect him in the planetary conference. While the commander was discussing the plan to eliminate it, a group of Pearl Nations suddenly entered, paralyzing everyone. The Pearl Nations took and captured the commander. After the Pearl Nations retreated, Valerian used the mechanical spider in his mouth to escape, found Laureline, and quickly helped her escape. Valerian contacted the headquarters, who ordered the command center to search for the commander's location and find the nearest road, so that Valerian could leave quickly and help them determine the position. Valerian activated the iron cape and hit the wall. It passed through various civilizations of all species of the universe, and at that time the Pearl people were about to reach the spaceship. Then, the spaceship was launched, and they prepared to leave the Alpha Station. However, soon after, Valerian also chased them with his spaceship. He locked onto the target and attacked the Pearl Nation's plane, but it seemed to have no effect. Finally, he fired 2 missiles, and the spaceship split into many small planes. In that instant, he lost the spaceship and control. Seeing Valerian in trouble, Laureline couldn't just sit and watch. She found 3 aliens and threatened them to take her to Valerian, as they had knowledge and spy information on various creatures. With their guidance, they arrived at a submarine place. The 3 aliens took out a bottle of drink and gave it to a man who appeared from the front. He took them to the bottom of the sea, and there was a huge water monster at the bottom of the water. Laureline was told that jellyfish lived on top of the water monster, and they then caught it with equipment. But the water monster was angry, and the submarine was thrown. It almost fell prey to the water monster. Several water monsters woke up at the same time and chased the submarine. Fortunately, the submarine managed to avoid their pursuit. After returning to the surface, Laureline wore the jellyfish on her head so that she could see the location of the missing Valerian. After finding out the location, Laureline went searching alone. Through the cliffs, she finally saw Valerian in front of her, who was in a coma. And then she woke up Valerian. Bored, Laureline stood on the edge of the cliff and played with the butterfly, but in the next second she was pulled. A panicked Valerian then jumped off the cliff and caught the butterfly. It turned out that the butterfly was just like the fishing lure of the Ulaanbaatar species, and Laureline was put in a cage, but the hung Valerian shot the creature. In order to enter the Ulaanbaatar territory, Valerian went to a merchant to meet a glamapod creature that could change its physique to any form. Valerian paralyzed the merchant in order to work with the glamapod to the Ulaanbaatar territory. Then the glamapod became the merchant to get out, and they transformed into Ulaanbaatar and walked to the palace. At this time, the king of these aliens was eating. The king chose the food he liked, and Laureline entered to give a lemon. But when she got in front of the king did not want to eat the lemon, but wanted to eat Laureline's head. Laureline was scared and ran away, but was pulled back by the soldiers. Just as the king was about to eat her head, Valerian entered and swung the sword, cutting off the king's head. Laureline was also frightened because of his shape. Soon after, Valerian took Laureline into the sewer and managed to escape the siege. They slid into a pile of garbage. Later, the 2 of them found the residence of the Pearl Nation, passed through a wall, and they saw the king and queen of the Pearl Nation. The Pearl King told Valerian that after the death of his daughter, the soul energy would be released, and then went to find the body of someone who had goodness, and his daughter chose Valerian. When he learned what happened in Mull at that time a big war broke out between humans and aliens near the planet Mull. The war lasted for a long time, and many soldiers and commanders died. In order to win, they launched missiles at the enemy, causing the crash of warships and the destruction of the planetary home. Eventually, the surviving Pearl Nations came to Alpha Station. To cover up the truth, the commander erased all records and also killed everyone who knew of the war. Now all they need to do is get the energy converter and Pearl, and they will free the commander, and they can return to their previous lives. After their story, Valerian and Laureline handed over the converter animal and the energy pearl. Soon after, the Pearl Nation quickly replicated a large number of pearls. With so much energy flowing through the pearls, the entire region became as it was before. And at this moment, the wall was already filled with human soldiers who were about to blow up the place. So Valerian contacted the general to cancel the operation. After confirming everything, the general canceled the operation. Just when the problem was over, the cunning commander activated the robot army, which attacked all the humans. Valerian quickly came out to help when he saw this. Laureline was still beating the commander, and General Octo ordered his men to turn off the active bomb, and at the critical moment, General Octo's men managed to turn off the bomb. Also, the robots immediately lost power, and the Pearl Nation warships rushed out of the Alpha Station and started their new lives. And finally, the whole problem was solved. Movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.